Welcome to the Two Geeks and a Microphone podcast, your one-stop shop for television, movie, video games, comic books, book reviews, and more. Now, without further ado, here's Steven and Mike.
Hello there. So who talks first? You talk first? I talk first.
This guy will talk first today. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Two Geeks and a Microphone show. I am your co-host, Mr. Steven Boster, along with my illustrious co-host, Mr. Michael Shanks. Mike, say hey to everybody.
Good morning to all you geeks out there in Geekdom land.
Welcome to the show. Hey, so Mike was like, I really would like to do these episodes for this new Disney Plus show, just like we do the Star Wars ones.
How
And
come
I'm
you
like,
always blame it on me?
No. I'm giving you credit where credit's due.
Oh, okay. All right.
And okay, so we're going to talk about Moon Knight. Now, I need to preface this real quick. Tomorrow being Sunday night on Three Geeky Dads is our initial discussion of this, or I guess technically it would be a follow-up discussion because this is going out now. Kind of a thing. With Three Geeky Dads, we talked about Moon Knight. Now, that episode, I'm just going to tell you guys, if you didn't hear me last time for our last episode we just finished, my cheeks hurt so bad at the end of that show.
Oh, we laughed so much. We laughed so hard.
So please check that out. We do the episode's in two parts. There's their appetizer section, which is really cool. They had a great idea for a topic, which was I always mess this up how to say this. Comic book character, they actually got its start in a different comic book.
Yeah, that was the appetizer for this episode.
Right. And then after that, we talked about Moon Knight, all our aspects of Moon Knight. Now, I'm going to do my best not to reiterate anything that I said in that particular episode, because we did all kinds of fun, wild tangents and just had a great time. So if you have not checked out Three Geeky Dads, please do so.
Oh, definitely. Definitely.
Three Geeky Dads plus Tito, they were all there. We just had a fabulous time with them, and but we did talk about Moon Knight, and so but Mike
somewhere in there we
did talk about Moon Knight between all the laughter.
Right.
Yes.
Brian did tell me later after we finished. He said somewhere in between that laughing, I think we have a show.
Right.
We had a really good time.
We had a great time with them. And so we still want to continue to give our thoughts for the show, but there is more stuff that we discussed about the show, Moon Knight, that we do want you to listen to that podcast. And that one goes for quite some time. It was a great show, great time. So we are going to talk about Moon Knight. And one of my gripes has been, I wish they dropped 2 episodes at once. And I discussed that more in detail in the other show, but we're going to talk about the first 2 episodes, and we're going to discuss some things about the show. And Mike did some homework, as he always does, about Moon Knight to share with us, and I'm excited just to have this discussion about Moon Knight without the laughter. No, I'm just kidding. We're still going to laugh.
Okay.
I'm a dork. All right. So Disney Plus, new show, comes out on Wednesdays. Moon Knight. Who in the world is Moon Knight? You may be asking.
Well, just to let you know, I do plan on doing I said this in our WandaVision episode, which will come out Friday. So we are in the time machine right now. Anyway, I plan on doing some maybe character profile type things, comic book character profile type things over on our Ko-fi site. So
yes, I'm excited.
Please do consider supporting us on Ko-fi. Like Steven says in the past, Ko-fi goes to supporting the show and producing the show, because unfortunately it's not free to do a podcast. I mean you can do it free, but you're
Really,
pretty
you can't.
limited. Well,
You are limited because you have to have a host. Yeah.
Right.
Mhm.
So there's a little cost involved in there, and so that's basically what you'll be doing. You'll be helping to support us and do that. And we've got some extras over there that we've been working on. We did 2 extra Ko-fi only exclusive shows. We call
Yeah.
that our classic sci-fi series. It's a lot of fun. First episode was Logan's Run. My daughter Megan joined us, and she read the book.
She read the book. Oh my goodness, yes.
She did a real deep dive into it, and it was so much fun to
It was
discuss.
so interesting too. The
And
insights that she brought.
She's got tons of details. So check that out. And then Steven, for our second episode, we did Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan. That was a lot of fun. If you know me, I'm not a huge original Star Trek fan. I like it in bits and pieces, but I do enjoy Wrath of Khan, and we watched the original TOS episode, Space Seed.
Space Seed.
Ricardo
And that was
Montalban.
season 1.
That was season 1.
Near the end of season 1. Now that comes into play. You have to listen to that discussion.
Listen to that discussion, and you'll hear some nice interesting tidbits about some differences between the
and we do answer the question.
Oh,
is that Ricardo Montalban's real chest, or is it a fake chest?
Right.
We do answer that.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. So anyway, that was a long but I do plan on doing some character profiles of comic book characters over there on Ko-fi. So if you join us over there, and you can make a suggestion of a character you're wanting to learn about, and I will do my best to research it and get to it. So with that said,
you're gonna do Moon Knight for us then.
Well, we're gonna talk a little bit about Moon Knight right now. I don't have a whole lot of detail on Moon Knight.
Okay.
But Moon Knight has been around for quite some time. He made his first appearance in Werewolf by Night comic series that Marvel did, I think in the 70s, if I remember right. That was actually his first appearance, and he was actually kind of an adversary to the werewolf in that comic issue.
Yeah, he was a bad guy technically, wasn't he?
They start off. I think a lot of these start off that way. They kind of start off as a bad guy until
and people like him.
Until the comic company figures out what they're going to do with the character. I think basically it's like, all right, we're going to throw this and see if it sticks to the wall. That kind of thing.
Right.
I think you'll find a lot of these characters end up that way. But Moon Knight has had like 2 or 3 different comic book runs, over the years, and just nothing seemed to stick for him. And he's a pretty intriguing character in my opinion. I like him. He's evolved a lot over the years. His character's changed quite a bit, because now the character, his background kind of relies on Egyptian gods, and he kind of gains his powers through Egyptian gods and such as that. If you watch these episodes, you're going to find out that the Egyptian moon god Khonshu, he's the avatar to
Bless
Khonshu.
you. I'm just kidding.
Now remember, you only get 2 bless yous, and then after that, I assume you've been taken over by demons, and then I have to throw holy water at you. Maybe we'll get more into that into our crossover with Nerdery Murdery and our Exorcist.
Right, and our Exorcist episode.
Right.
Yeah, that's gonna be great.
So yeah, Moon Knight. He's had a rocky past. The character has had a rocky past. Hopefully, with this TV series, he's getting more of a footing. And he's had a relaunch of his comic book in the last year. I've got the first, I think, 9 issues. I think 10 is in my pull at Fantasy Comics right now. They're probably over there going, "Hey, come pick up your comic, would you?" Anyway,
Right.
so Moon Knight starts in Werewolf by Night. I honestly thought Werewolf by Night was going to be in these
I did
episodes,
too. I did
but we
too.
found out it wasn't a werewolf. That was pretty
Right.
interesting.
It's like an Anubis dog or something.
Yeah, a jackal.
It's a jackal. That's right.
Right.
Jackal.
He,
That's
he
right.
says that many times too.
In the second
Jackal.
episode,
It's
yes.
a jackal.
It's a
I
jackal.
don't see a jackal, you know.
Mhm.
So that was pretty cool, you know. So that's
Yeah.
kind of a very slight history on Moon Knight and
Well,
where he's come from.
let me ask you this. I've heard some people say, it's a B character, C character, D character. Help me understand this whole, they're an A character in Marvel, a B character in Marvel, D character. What is that scale system? And is that just a nebulous kind of system out there?
I think that depends on his appearances. Like, for many years
Okay.
he was appearing as a support character throughout other comic books.
Okay.
And I think the way I look at it, a character is more of a C character if he is only support only whatsoever. And then I think once he starts to gain popularity, then they'll start giving him like mini series, mini runs to test the ground. And I think that's where he
Okay.
or she kind of becomes more of a B-lister,
Okay.
and then they tend to start getting more frequent their appearances
Mhm.
and such. And then obviously you get your own comic, you're an A-lister. That's
So if you have your own comic and it's running a current running series that doesn't have a ending but a current, continuous series, that would be an A-list character.
right. It also depends on your popularity, Um, I remember when MCU kicked off, when the movie side of Marvel kicked off the MCU. Iron Man, he was considered a B or C lister. He was a throwaway character. Nobody cared about Iron Man at that point. Marvel just really wasn't doing anything with the character anymore, and now he's completely an A-lister. Captain America
Mhm.
was the same way. He was becoming a throwaway character. Nobody cared about them at that point. So your popularity plays a lot into that too. I mean, you might have a title run, but if your comic isn't selling,
Uh-huh.
your ratings.
So do you think some of that may be because like Spider-Man, and then there was, oh my goodness, there's how many different Spider-Man? Spectacular,
my gosh.
amazing, web of
Well,
Spider-Man.
it's just like Batman. Batman's the same way. How many different?
Batman, Dark Knight. Oh my goodness. Oh my
But-
goodness, I can't think of any of the other ones all of a sudden. That's not
But
good.
I believe Batman is the number one selling book in the DC side, and I believe Spider-Man is the number one selling
Number one.
Marvel side. So that's why they have so many different runs. Detective Bat,
Shadow of the Bat,
Shadow
Detective
of the Bat,
Comics.
Detective
Yep.
Comics.
Mhm.
Yeah, with Spider-Man, there's Amazing Spider-Man. There's Spectacular Spider-Man.
Spectacular. There's Web of Spider-Man because I
Web
have
of
I have
Spider-Man.
number one of that one actually.
Then there's just Spider-Man.
Then there's just Spider-Man. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, there's so many of them. And Batman.
See, I think some of them doing all those different versions took away from money to do for other comics, I think, because I don't know about you, but I'm on a budget.
Well, and then you got the nice crossover.
Yeah, they get you on the crossovers.
Let's do a giant year-long storyline that is going to connect to every single freaking comic book in our library.
Get people interested. Yeah, to get people interested in those. Yeah. Yeah. So obviously A, B, C, thanks for going through that because, people have said Moon Knight was, he's just a C-lister, kind of a thing. And I was like, interesting, but we're getting a TV show now.
Iron Man and Cap were C-listers when they started the MCU. They were C-lister because their popularity had waned so much, technically, Batman, before the 1989 movie, he was failing. He was a failing character.
What?
DC wanted nothing to do with Batman at the time because he had this stigma against from the 66 series. You know, a lot of people looked at Batman as a total joke because of the 66 series. And then 89 Batman came out, and the comics were already trying to turn that around. I mean, Frank Miller had put out The Dark Knight Returns, which is
a fabulous book.
You know, and around that time we had the Death in the Family, Robin's death. You know, all this was all an effort to turn the tide on Batman and get people more interested in him. And then boom, with the 89 Batman, it exploded. There was huge interest in Batman. And he became the number one DC character at that point. And obviously he's been through some rough times with the Batman movies we shall not talk about. Batman Forever and Batman and Robin.
Right.
You know, he's been through some rough times with that, but then he came back with the Dark Knight series, and then obviously now with the Batman. So
now I've heard some people say, and I'm just bringing up because we're already talking about it, but some people have made that comparison that Moon Knight is kind of Marvel's version of Batman. But what I've seen from these two shows that we'll get into in a minute,
I've struggled with that.
Yeah, I didn't quite understand. I'm like, I don't know why he's.
Yeah, I hear that from Marvel fans too. In fact, I remember last year when issue number 1 of the new Moon Knight came out, I picked it up, and we've had Theron on before. We need to have him back on. We haven't had him on in a while. Theron, my friend Theron. I said something to him. I was like, "Hey, I picked up Moon Knight number 1," and he goes, "Oh, cool! You got the Marvel version of Batman, huh?" And I was like, "Why do you say that? I don't get it." And I know part of the thinking is so Moon Knight has multiple personalities. He suffers from DID. Okay?
Right. Dissociative identity disorder.
Right. Thank you for saying that because I couldn't have got that out. But the character suffers from DID. I mean, I guess in some ways you could say Bruce Wayne is kind of like that because Bruce Wayne and Batman are almost separate people. I would argue that Bruce is actually the mask and Batman is the true identity, where Clark Kent and Superman are the opposite, where Superman is the mask and Clark Kent is the real person. Where Moon Knight, but he's got multiple personalities. In the comic book, he has like 4 or 5 different personalities outside of Moon Knight itself. And then they threw in Mr. Knight, which is, you know, another version of Moon Knight.
Which we got to see in episode 2.
Yeah, I like that too. I thought that was cool.
I loved it.
But see, they take that differently from the comic book. Okay. So the way I took it in the episode, excuse me, Mr. Knight is Stephen Grant, where Moon Knight is Mark Spector. But in the comic books, Moon Knight is Moon Knight, and Mr. Knight is Mr. Knight. And then Stephen Grant is somebody total. Well, I don't even know if Stephen Grant's actually one of his personalities in the comic book. Mark Spector is.
I think he's a cab driver or something, maybe.
Yeah, maybe because one of the personalities is a cab driver, but I think Mark is the millionaire. I if I remember right. Again, I've only read a few episodes, so the personalities are a little confusing for me at the moment. I haven't learned them all yet. But that's the thing. He has one of his personalities is a millionaire or a billionaire, whatever. It's all the same to me. I don't have that kind of cash. Subscribe to Ko-fi, please. Anyway, yeah, I doubt I'm going to be a millionaire or billionaire off of that.
Right.
Anyway, so yeah, I guess that's part of the comparison is one of his personalities is a billionaire, and then he has all these gadgets that he uses.
Okay.
So that's a similarity over to Batman. But to me, he ties a lot, at least in the TV series. He ties a lot into this Egyptian lore.
Mhm.
And to me, that
Mhm.
cries Dr. Fate, for comparison on the DC side. Because Dr. Fate falls
Mhm.
into the Egyptian god, because the Dr. Fate mask is actually controlled by a Egyptian god.
Yeah, when he
Very
puts on the helmet, he becomes
he
the
becomes
avatar or
yeah.
whatever.
Well, I think he's more like the conscience or something. It's a slightly different, but it's a similar.
It's similar. Mhm.
Yeah, it's a similar concept. So, in a way, I kind of compare him to Dr. Fate, and I don't know.
Okay.
Marvel fans all are like, no, he's the Batman of the Marvel. Okay, all right.
I think that's just because they've heard it. It's one of those
Yeah.
things where they repeat it, and everyone's like, "Oh yeah, it must be blah blah blah." I'm like, have you read it? Have you looked into it?"
Well, it's going to be interesting to see what the TV show does to that outlook. You know what I mean? Because
Mhm.
I mean, he's got some of the. Well, we've only seen him use the moon, like boomerang looking things, which is
Mhm. Mhm.
comparable to a batarang,
Mhm.
which is kind of cool. He pulls it right off his chest and throws it. I
Wow.
like that.
Right.
I love that. I think that's pretty freaking.
It was neat. Mhm.
Which Batman did that in the new Batman.
It was on his chest. That's
Yeah,
right.
it was on his chest, which
Everything was functional.
I thought that was really cool. I like that. I like that aspect of the Batman on that one. So yeah, I guess that comparison is there. I know in the comic books, I don't know currently because I don't think they've done it yet currently, but in the comics in the past, Moon Knight has had some kind of vehicle similar to the Bat plane that he
Mhm.
uses. So I guess that's a comparison over to Batman also. But I don't know. The TV series doesn't really look like it. It's leaning more to the whole Egyptian god aspect of it,
Mhm.
and because
Mhm.
you have a very heavy influence of him being controlled, or being the avatar to Khonshu,
Mhm.
and then we find out that what's his name, the bad guy, the adversary in this one. I forgot his name.
Harrow. Is it Harrow?
Is it Harrow?
Is the
The guy who puts the
character.
glass in his sandals.
Yeah, that he's the character. Harrow is the character.
Jeez, that
I know. I
hurts.
was like, what's that for? Hopefully they'll come back and explain that, because some people yell at me saying everything Marvel does is for a purpose. And so that's from our last episode, everybody. And so
I can tell you, I've heard in the comic books, it's because in the comic books they portray him as always being in pain, some kind of pain. So,
okay.
I know they
Yeah.
didn't convey
Yeah.
that in the episode.
The actor was Ethan Hawke, who was
Yeah.
doing a great
Gosh,
job.
he's awesome. He is
Great
so
job.
good. So good. Arthur Harrow. Thank you, Angie. Angie just
Yes.
got it for
Thanks,
us.
Angie.
She is our Tito today.
Right on. Love it.
So, yeah. Arthur is a very, very good bad guy. I really like him a lot. Yeah, I'm just wondering if the TV series is going to change that thought of Moon Knight being so comparable to Batman. It just seems right now it's heading in a slightly different direction than that.
Okay.
But so far I like what I've seen. I can't complain about it.
Right. All
Anyway.
right. So let's get into the show then, because we got 2 episodes. I don't think it's any surprise to anybody. I watched the first episode. I'm like, where are we going? I like it. Visually, it looks awesome. It looks good. You got me hooked in, but by golly, what in the world's going on?
Man, there was some fun stuff in that first episode, though.
There was some fun stuff
There really
in it.
was.
But I just didn't know what was going on.
I love when he just automatically appears in, I don't know what country that was that he appears in. And he's looking up at that tower, and he waves at those guys. And one of them waves back at him, and the other guy goes, "What are you doing?" And then they just start shooting at him.
Yeah.
I absolutely love that.
So we heard the rumor in our episode with Three Geeky Dads that area could be Latveria.
That's
Now-
right. Because both Mark and I are going, what the hell is that?
Latveria, and I was like, oh, they could introduce Doctor Doom because he's the ruler of Latveria, and I learned that from the X-Men Legends video game.
I know Gotham City. I know Central City. I know Bloodhaven. Metropolis. I don't know Marvel. Marvel's usually in New York, Hell's Kitchen, Brooklyn.
Right.
Where did this come from? You know, this completely came out of left field for me. I was like,
Well,
okay.
When I was younger, I played the X-Men 2 Legends video game. It's kind of like a top-down video game. You get to play superheroes and stuff. And in there, Doctor Doom was the bad guy. I didn't know Doctor Doom. I was like, okay, cool.
He's
I like
pretty
this
cool.
guy. But he's from Latveria. And I remember that. I was like, oh, okay, cool. And all. So I
just thought that Marvel always put their characters in real life cities. I mean, I know if you're from another planet, obviously it's going to be something made up, you know. I mean, I don't know these cities on other planets. Maybe I'm wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Right.
I've never been off the Earth, so
right.
Elon Musk, if you're listening, I'm willing to go.
I think Latveria is right next door to Transylvania. I'm making that up. I have no idea.
Okay.
I'm just being silly. So yeah. So hey, so the so that location was interesting, but I was like, what in the world is going on? Is he really there? Is he not there? Or now we do get to see the first images of Khonshu, which I thought was
pretty awesome, by the way.
Looked really good. You get better views of him in the second episode, but the first episode.
Oh no, the idiot's in control.
Right.
I love that. I so love that.
That was great. Yeah.
Go back to sleep.
Yeah. So, everyone, if you're just coming in and joining us, we are talking about Moon Knight. We're just having fun discussions. We're not here to give you a run through. We assume that you've probably seen it because we're talking spoilers all over the place and kind of feel for it. But we are talking about our favorite parts about it and a little bit more about what we liked and some things we may not have liked about it. But we're glad that you're here. So one of the favorite parts that we had, it was what Mike just talked about, was, oh, great. the idiot in charge. Control. That's what it was.
I love it.
And so it was really good.
Now, I gotta ask you a question. So
yeah,
obviously you were the first episode is not your favorite, as it seems
That's
to
correct.
be in every series.
Right.
which
Yes.
So did you have any moments in the first episode that you're doing the little 10-second skip?
No, I did not
Really?
do the 10-second skip in any.
You didn't do it at all.
I did not do it at all.
That shows it wasn't that bad an episode.
It was. Let me put it to you this way: it did exactly what it was supposed to do. It made me interested in the show, but for me, frustratingly so. If you're gonna get me hooked, dude, you got to give me some kind of plot. It was very confusing, and so this is my point where they should have dropped the first two episodes at once, because the second episode was fabulous. It was great.
See, I thought the first episode was great too.
First episode was good, but I was just like, what's going on?
Let me ask you this.
Yeah. Ask away.
I know there's a part of you that's watching it because we put it on the docket for the podcast.
That's right. Mike makes me watch stuff, everybody. He forces me to do so.
Yeah,
I'm just kidding.
Yeah, anyway. No, we discuss these things. If you really don't like it, we don't have to do it. But
I know you're great. You're great about all that. Yes, that's correct. Go ahead. No, I wanted to see this because I remember Moon Knight as a kid, seeing some of the comics and stuff. But yeah.
My question is, if we weren't doing the podcast, would you have continued after episode 1? That's my question.
Hang on a second. That is a great question. My dogs are barking like crazy. I don't know if you guys can hear that or not and stuff. They're driving me crazy. That is a great question. Would I have watched it?
I stumped him.
You did. I would not have let me put it to you this way. We were getting ready to record for the three geeky dads, 2 geeks and 3 geeky dads, on Wednesday night. And we had briefly stated we may be discussing episode 2. So I watched it on my lunch break.
Yeah.
On Wednesday.
I watched episode 2 as soon as I got home from work.
Right. I probably, if we weren't doing it for the podcast, to be open with you, I probably would not have watched it right away. Like WandaVision.
Okay. Oh, okay. You would have waited till the series was done, and
I probably would have.
Okay.
I probably would have waited till the series is done.
Interesting.
So I could binge it and stuff. Which I'm almost that. If Mike doesn't make me do these weekly episode recaps and stuff, I probably would wait for it so I could binge it all. Because I'm messing with you, Mike. No, Mike, you're great about it. You're great about saying, "Hey, do you want to?"
No,
do
it's
this
interesting the way we look differently at these because I would have, regardless of having the podcast or not, I would be watching it weekly. I thought the first episode intrigued me enough to go, yeah, I like this character already. I know we didn't learn a lot about the character in the first episode,
right.
but I felt there was enough mystery there that said, yep, just let's
keep
watching.
I have to be open with you. I love that about you, where you can just continue on about, well, here's the mystery. Well, I want to see what happens. And for me, if you want to hook me into a show, I get having a, what is J.J. Abrams call it? Mystery box. I get that. Whatever. Fine.
No, he's J.J. Abrams.
Well, he gave a TED talk about mystery box and storytelling, and that's what a lot of people use. But I was just like, you got to give me plot. You got to tell me really kind of what's going on. And I think, seeing the first 2 episodes, I was like, yay, this is okay. And drop, just like you did with Hawkeye, drop the first 2 episodes and then go weekly kind of a thing. Because the first 2 episodes will give you the hook. Because it seems like that first hour in every single Disney Plus show, that first hour is just like some kind of, what is going on here? And then they really don't get rolling until the second episode. I'm like, just drop the first 2 episodes. That'll be fine.
I like that. I enjoy.
I know that's pretty cool.
I don't know. I guess I have no patience in real life, but I have more patience when it comes to TV and when it comes to real life, I ain't got no patience at all.
Angie says, honestly, that's how I felt with the DC show Peacemaker. Agreed.
Well, now
it was the same.
Peacemaker, the first 3 episodes, I almost didn't continue watching it. I didn't know if I liked it.
I didn't. I watched it fast forward.
But
the first couple
you had to convince me, okay, you need to go back and watch this series.
Right.
You were the one on that.
After you get past the first couple of it. Well, I was watching because Troy wanted to watch them. And so I was previewing them before, because I was like, there's different parts. Like, okay, you gotta close your eyes. Oh, yeah, you gotta look away. Yeah. Okay, we don't use those words, but just so you know.
Right.
So
but,
yeah.
So with Peacemaker, I watched. Actually, I think the first 2 episodes, and I went, I just don't know. I don't know if I like this, and I stopped watching it. And Brenda had no interest in it, so I was like, okay, maybe we won't watch this.
Right.
And then later, you had watched, I think, the whole series. And you're like, have you watched Peacemaker yet? I was like, oh, just the first 2 episodes.
Right.
And you're like, you should probably watch more. I'm like, okay. All right. So wait a minute. Does this mean we're doing it for the podcast?
Yeah.
So that was one you made me watch. And
yeah, true.
I got to say, by the end of that one, I really enjoyed it.
Right.
I thought it was a fun series, Yep. So
but it didn't hook you in the beginning.
You're right. That one didn't. This did. This is different.
I will say this: the special effects were really good. Seamless. I've heard some people say, "Oh, you can see the green screen." I'm like,
I can't see no green screen.
You can't see no green screen.
Whatever.
What you talking about, Willis?
Whatever.
Yeah,
that's the same. The same people complained about Tarkin in Rogue One. Oh, he still looks fake. Well, he is fake. The man's been dead for over 20 years. Come on. He is fake. You know he's fake. But in my mind, I'm sitting here going, wow, I'm watching a guy that's been dead for 20 years. This is pretty freaking amazing.
It's
you know?
pretty good.
And then when we
Mhm.
saw Luke Skywalker at the end of the
Second season of Mandalorian, the
Boom.
finale.
blew my mind. And
Yeah.
then we see him even more in Book of Boba Fett, and I'm like, whoa.
Wait,
what?
Book of Boba Fett. Don't you mean Mandalorian episode 2.5?
Oh yeah,
Season
you're
2.5. No, I'm just messing with you. I just messing with you.
right. It pretty much was.
Those couple episodes were, yes.
It just goes to show you, it's just getting better and better. That's all. It's just getting, the
Better and better.
effects are getting much more betterer. Take a drink.
Oh, take a drink, everybody. We said much more better. There we go. He's finished his, and I'll drink mine.
I don't think we said that in our last.
In the last one?
Yeah.
Right. I don't think we did either. All right. So Delioso then with the first episode. We're still discussing the first episode. So we get Stephen Grant, of course, who very mild-mannered. We see him talking to the gold statue. I thought that was kind of funny. I was like, okay, he's got a friend.
He has a captive friend.
Right, the guy can't move.
Right.
Could you imagine being that guy? This is your job, kind of a thing, and I'm sitting there being a still statue for as long as I can, kind of a thing. I can't imagine the strength it would take to do that. And so, but here comes somebody who just wants to talk, and then they talk, and you're like, get on with it already, kind of a thing. It's like, really, kind of
Go away. Isn't your lunch hour over, dude?
right.
Well, we kind of see that in episode 2, because now
We do.
episode 1, I wasn't 100% sure if it was a real person or if it was a statue. I was like,
Mhm,
is it?
mhm.
I kind of think it's a real person, but it kind of looks like but episode 1 was in the dark. It was at night, and it was a little harder to see. Episode 2, you see his eyes and you see his teeth and you can see
Right.
his hair better. It's like, oh yeah, that's a
Mhm.
real dude. That's a real
It's
guy.
a real dude.
you know?
Now, rumor has it, or that somebody got on there and said that the statue was referenced the actor. They said who the actor was, so he got credit within, even though he didn't speak, which is
Right.
interesting. That's interesting. He didn't speak because he was in the credits roll. Because sometimes if there's not a speaking part, they don't get a credit, kind of a thing.
Oh, did you see Brenda's comment?
What about the Gus statue?
The
Bladder control, not just strength, but also.
That's funny. Yeah. Oh my
That's
gosh.
good.
Yeah.
That was good. So the actor somehow got posted as saying that he was playing a certain character or something, but actually plays one of Mark Spector's support characters. And when I mean support characters, like someone who helps him in his journey. So it could be that he's being the gold statue to keep an eye on Stephen Grant. And Stephen Grant goes to him because there's already a underlying subconscious mental connection with this individual. So that maybe that's why he feels comfortable talking with him and stuff.
Now, the other connection I've heard is in the comic books, in previous comic books, he goes to a statue of Khonshu, and he talks to the Khonshu statue. So
interesting.
They're saying that this is kind of referencing that in the comics, kind of paying homage to that a little bit in the comic books. But I like your thinking of that. I think you might be onto something there. And if that's not it, it's at least it's at the very least he just has a captive audience that just
it's a good humor moment. Yeah, because I loved it how he hugged him in the second episode. Oh,
and
thanks for listening.
The
Thanks
awkward
for
look on his face.
Yeah, the eyes were like,
away from me. What's wrong with you?
Can't
Don't touch
move.
me.
Right. Yeah.
Which, by the way, if some total stranger came up to me and hugged me, I'd be the same way. Whoa! You're in my bubble.
You're messing up my art form here.
Stay out of the bubble. Personal space.
Brenda says, "Stranger danger."
Into that. Yeah, I'd be freaking out. That's true.
Angie said earlier she was expecting the statue to freak out the couple. I thought so too. I thought it was going to be some kind of boo moment. You know how some people do those? You see those videos where people are playing.
I know what you're saying.
Somebody or something. I thought, maybe we'll have that moment.
Okay.
Ooh, maybe we'll get that with Stephen Grant. Well, he'll lean over and says, "Give Mark control."
That would be freaking hilarious. Then he'd stop talking to him.
Right.
The idiot's in control now.
The idiot's in control. Yeah. Which I did enjoy the fact that in the reflections, when you saw reflections, you would see the other personality. You would either see, most of the time you would see Mark Spector. And once they introduced Mark Spector, and then
it got reversed by the end.
It got reversed. That was so interesting how they did that.
Yeah.
You almost felt bad for Stephen Grant because like, I can't move. He's like, you'll get used to it.
Yeah, that's true. Oh man, there was something I was gonna say. Now I forgot what it was. Dang it! Penguin slid off the iceberg.
That's okay. Well, we were talking about the reflections.
Drowning too.
Right. We're talking about the reflections of
Brent said I am
personalities. I am Venom.
There was almost a feel of that.
Yeah.
Penguin just went for a dip. Well, he ain't come back yet, so I don't know. I'm a little worried about him.
Oh gosh, that's okay. So the first episode was confusing. The second episode made a lot more sense, and if you watch both together, it's actually really good.
Oh yeah, that's fantastic.
Yeah, and I enjoyed it. We got more about Harrow's character, which this is one of those instances, Mike, where you talk about the villain thinks they're doing the right thing.
Oh,
you see what I'm saying?
Oh my gosh, this is a perfect example of that too.
Yeah, and I thought it would be good to discuss this for a little bit because I thought this was really, really well done because we got a big surprise that I did not know was coming.
Oh my gosh, there is a Doctor Who moment in this episode.
Okay, explain that. Explain the Doctor Who moment.
I like the moment when Stephen Grant is talking to Arthur. And they're
Arthur
in
Harrow.
Arthur's in his little
compound.
Cult compound.
Right.
Let's freaking admit this. This is a cult. This is a straight out scary freaking cult, man. Yeah, and it freaks the crap out of me. Yeah, he's sitting there eating their lentils.
Having lentil soup.
Yeah, having lentil soup.
I love how he was like, "Oh, this is really good."
And they're discussing the differences between Khonshu and Ammit, which is the two Egyptian gods. So basically, Arthur is more or less the avatar to Ammit, where Mark Spector is the and Stephen Grant, for that matter, for lack of better terms, they're both the avatar to Khonshu. And Arthur reveals that he was once the avatar to Khonshu also, which
I was like,
I love that exchange. That exchange was great because only Mark and Stephen can see and hear Khonshu. Nobody else can see or hear them. You have to be an avatar to see and hear them. And Khonshu keeps commenting on everything Arthur is saying, and then Arthur is saying back to Stephen Grant,
I bet you he's saying,
yeah, is he saying this? Is he saying this?
I bet you saying this.
And Stephen Grant's like, this. Can you hear him? Nope, but I used to be able to hear him. You know, I love that aspect. I thought it was great. It was great, and it shows you how well Arthur actually knows Khonshu too, which is kind of scary.
It made it very believable that he used to be the avatar,
right? And but
Mark
there's
Spector.
This aspect you're sitting there going, "Is he right? Is he right?" So it just it adds to that good bad guy thing, you know. But we had in the conversation, he mentions that Ammit is better at getting justice because Ammit, I know I'm saying that.
That's right. Just it's okay.
Because she takes out the person who is going to commit evil.
Right.
They haven't done it yet. Can you say Minority Report?
Yeah.
Because that's pretty
much. It's like, wait, you haven't done it yet?
Right. Yeah. You haven't done it yet. But then Stephen Grant calls him out and he's like, well, wait a minute. That means that you see a baby that might do evil.
Oh,
in
it's a
its
great
future,
argument. Oh my goodness, yes.
and you're gonna take out a baby. You know, I'm just not for killing babies. Are you guys for killing babies? That's what he turned around
it was great.
to all the cult members because they're all starting
Mhm.
to get up and come at him, and he's like, "So
Mhm.
you telling
Mhm.
me you're into killing babies?" You know,
Mhm.
but there's that has a Doctor Who aspect because there's a classic Tom Baker episode where the Time Lords assign the Doctor to go back in time before the Daleks are created and destroy Davros. Davros is the creator of the Daleks, and to kill Davros before he can create the Daleks. But it's this moment of, wait a minute, I'm committing genocide to a race who I know in the future does evil, but is it right for me to commit genocide for that? You know, it's this moral dilemma. And
Mhm.
it's a great Doctor Who moment. It's a
Mhm.
fantastic. It's one of the favorite Doctor Who episodes of all time. And I just had that same moment when Stephen Grant says that to Arthur. I was like, "Oh wow, that's so Doctor Who right there."
Mhm. Mhm.
Anyway,
I
that was
thought it
my
was
Doctor Who moment.
fantastic because it was almost like a progression for the bad guy, for Arthur Harrow, because I call him the bad guy because
Yeah,
he's the bad guy.
yeah,
Um, it made it very relatable. It's like, look, he's just the fist of justice or fist of vengeance or whatever after they commit it. Well, Amit is trying to get them even before they do so, kind of a thing. So, what's interesting though is, philosophically, I'm from the point of view that, hey, all of us have the potential
of course,
and
of
all.
course.
And so that's my belief structure. So I mean, and so I was like, well, dang, that means everybody's dead if Amit goes through, and I'm
Right.
wondering how they're gonna pan that out. But I like that story
Well,
theme
we had a
in
couple moments because he did the whole judging,
the old lady.
yeah,
And she's like, oh,
and then like the bum that he meets when the bum picks up the scarab,
yeah, he just
homeless
kills
guy.
him. He just kills him. That's
Is
not
it
even
was it? It wasn't. You don't think that was he waited out a moment? You think he just flat out killed
I
him?
think that whole scales thing is
I mean,
BS. I think it's a choice of
that's BS.
I think it's all BS. I think it's just a maneuver. I think it's just something to say, hey, well, you're accounted worthy, so you can come with us. I
That's
think he
his
may be using
cover
it
up.
against.
You're saying.
I think it's his cover up. I think he does whatever
Oh,
he wants, and
interesting.
maybe he's getting their power or something, or he knows that these people are easy to sway. It's like, hey, you
That
were chosen. I mean, think about it. Somebody be like, oh, you were chosen for the special cause. You know how many people that would sucker? They'd be like, oh, okay, I was chosen to do that. I gotta
well,
follow
I
you
mean,
'cause I was
look
chosen.
look at his followers.
It's the whole cult
Yeah,
aspect.
he's got a total cult.
Right. Brenda. Sorry, Brenda.
Oh,
Brenda said, hey, watch that BS stuff. That's my initials. Sorry. Angie, good comment,
so
baby.
she wants us to actually say the full.
I ain't saying it. I'm not putting another E episode on a Disney show. Or I'm making it E explicit on our
Oh my
podcast.
gosh, Disney added Daredevil and everything to and
I
you're
know. That is really cool. Maybe he needs their energy to stay young or live on. Yeah, we don't know how old he
Ooh,
is.
that's
That's
true.
a
We
good
don't.
point. I'm sure we're gonna get more details on that in the next
And he
episode.
has been Kanju's avatar too. So yeah. Oh, that's good.
Mhm.
I didn't even think about that. I have no clue of how old he is.
It'll be
So he could
interesting.
be a lot older than he looks and stuff. So
Yes. But
yeah.
Brenda said earlier, she asked the question, what was it? I saw it earlier. She asked the question, why or what did he do to lose that title as Kanju's
Yeah,
avatar?
I would like to know that too. That's a good question. And
Mhm.
I'm sure as the season goes on, we'll find that out. That'll be a mystery revealed
Right.
later. You know, that's just one of those little things that's sprinkled in to go, just to go. Hey, there's something more here, and
Mhm.
we're gonna touch on it later.
Well, I think it's like you said, they do everything for a purpose. Marvel
Right.
does everything. So I'm sure they're gonna pay that off. They're gonna
Well,
sit there and say what
in the
happened.
comic books, we do see Moon Knight goes up against one of the other avatars, which looks almost like him. They're very similar. look. So maybe we will see his version of Moon Knight in like a flashback or something like that, which would be cool.
That be neat?
I would really like to see that. Now, I love the fact that when Stephen Grant is refusing to give control to Mark and Layla, the wife, she's like, summon the suit, summon the suit, summon the soup.
Yeah.
What does that mean? Summon the soup.
Right.
No, suit, the suit. And
Yeah.
he still has no clue what she's talking about. And she's talking about Moon Knight.
Yeah.
And then when he falls out the window and hits his face, and then all of a sudden, boom,
superhero landing.
Right. Yeah. As Black Widow's sister. I can't think of her name off the top of my head.
Oh, Yelena.
Yeah, Yelena. As Yelena would say, poser. Going into poser mode, which I absolutely love. But he comes out.
That's rough on the knees.
And I love it when he looks in the window and he sees the reflection, and Mark's standing there in the suit, obviously. And Mark's like, "What the hell are we wearing?" And well, she said summon the suit. She said summon the suit, not demented
Colonel Sanders or something. Like that, right?
Which I thought was hilarious. And he's like, good. "Hey, I look sharp though."
And he did look sharp.
Yeah,
by golly.
That was awesome. And then he even fought,
what did he say? He was taking the jacket off, he was rolling up his sleeves, and here's this mild-mannered guy getting ready to fight this jackal. And he says,
I sting like a butterfly, float like a bee. My name's Steven with a V.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. Yeah.
It was so funny.
Like a butterfly, sting like a bee. My name is Steven with a V.
That was awesome. And he got a couple good hits in.
He got a good hit into the jackal. He's like, what? He was like,
and then the jackal beats the snot out of him, and then he throws the jackal into the car. So I mean, he did pretty good against him.
Right.
But then that's when he finally gave in to Mark and gives up control to Mark, and he becomes Moon Knight, full out Moon Knight. So when he's in that suit, the demented Colonel Sanders, that is Mr. Knight. So that's another persona. But I think in the TV series, in the comic book, Mr. Knight is one persona, Moon Knight is another persona, Mark Spector is another persona, so on and so forth. But I think in the TV series, what we have is Mark is Moon Knight and Steven is Mr. Knight.
Yep.
And I think
that
was
interesting,
making it a little less confusing, with the multiple personalities and stuff. Also, I wanted to point out one other thing.
Here, go ahead, do that. I got to go out and come back in for just a second because my audio just went crazy. But keep talking.
Oh, sure. So one of the things I find interesting about Moon Knight, and they really haven't elaborated on the TV series yet, and I'm sure they're going to get into it. So this is slightly spoilerish, but Moon Knight actually gains his powers from the moonlight. So like when we see him in these episodes, we see the moon as a crescent moon, but as the moon gets fuller, his powers increase actually.
So his powers are based upon the phases of the moon.
Right, which I think is pretty cool. So when we get full moon aspect, I think he's going to go just total badass.
You think that'll be the big finale fight?
Probably. Yeah. Because then we see him at full power at that point. So that's another aspect about him that's different from Batman. Batman doesn't have that kind of thing. So,
right.
And I know that's kind of new. That's a newish type thing they've added to the character in the comic books. So, and obviously they're going to do it in the TV series because they make sure and point out the crescent moon in the TV series. So, so if you were wondering, that's what's going on there. His powers are only so much of a level at a crescent moon, and it increases through the phases of the different phases of the moon. So anyway,
I love it. I love it. I love those big fight sequences he did too as well. They were pretty sweet.
so good, so good. I think
Yeah.
this is going to be a really good series. I'm really looking forward to it.
Well, I can say the second episode was better than the first. Watching both together makes both of them good. And I'm excited to see where each one goes after this. You know what I mean? Like the third, they tend to get better as they continue to go forward. That's how I felt with Hawkeye. I felt Hawkeye, each one got better, much more betterer than the one before. And so I think it was really good.
Brenda just asked, wasn't the thing he took off his chest? And yes, it was in the shape of a crescent moon. Yes. Which again, that's kind of like the Batarang. So that is one aspect that's comparable to Batman. Hey, I'm curious.
Yeah.
Where do you think they're going with the mother thing?
Oh, okay. So obviously we get a really interesting aspect in the second episode that he's like, oh, it's my mother's flat or something like that,
in the
right?
First episode, he's calling and leaving his mother messages.
Yes. Yeah. She never picks up.
Right. She never picks up. And then in the second episode, when he has Layla take him to the apartment, and we find out that Layla is actually the wife of Mark Spector, she makes the comment, "Oh, this is your apartment or his flat," and he, because we are in England, UK, they call it a flat. But he says, "No, actually, it's my mother's flat," and she goes, "Oh, you guys are talking again." So there's something interesting about this.
Yeah, we'll get something in that. It'd be kind of funny to see who the mother would be.
Right. Or is this, I mean, like when Steven is calling his mother, there was somebody that threw out the possibility that he actually was calling a phone number that Mark had set up, and it was just a way for Mark to kind of keep track of him. And but she throws out, "You guys are talking again." So
right,
the mother exists. She's real, So I don't know. I just thought that was interesting. I think there's something there that we don't quite understand yet.
Agreed.
Just another one of those puzzle pieces,
Yes.
So
yeah.
We'll have to see where that goes.
Yeah. So the question is, I think that's a really good question you asked earlier, was about would I continue to watch it or that kind of a thing, if I'd only seen the first episode and stuff.
If we want to do it for the podcast.
Yeah, I will say, if I saw the first two episodes, yeah, absolutely. And I guess I'm coming back to that is this worth watching, seeing the series, doing weekly episodes? And I would say yes.
Oh, that's good, because we are.
Yeah, that's right, because we are. So everybody, you'll get another bonus episodes on Moon Knight as we walk through each one. I do want to encourage everybody, please, tomorrow night it gets released. So on Monday for sure, look for Three Geeky Dads podcast and hear us laugh for almost 2 hours, hour and a half for sure, if I remember right. We're just laughing it up, having a good time. But we do talk about Moon Knight somewhere in there between the laughter, as we stated. Excuse me. And we do go into some things that we have not discussed here.
Right. So there might have been a little overlap between this and in that episode, but
yeah, I think we go into more detail on the other and stuff. And you hear from the Three Geeky Dads and Tito, and that's good stuff.
Right. And they have a little more insight on Marvel than we do. So that's
yes. So yeah. What else did you like? Any other thoughts about what you liked about the show that we didn't bring up?
I love the look of the costume, and the eyes. The eyes
glowing. Yes,
so cool looking.
It is very cool.
Yeah, he has such a good look. I really enjoy his look. And then I didn't know how Mr. Knight was going to look, and I think he looks almost as good as Moon Knight. I mean, Moon Knight obviously looks cooler just because
right,
the wrappings, the cape, and the hood and everything, But I don't know. There's something about Mr. Knight that's like, yeah, he's kind of classy looking. He's just a
Right?
different looking superhero, you know.
Yes.
Um,
Yep.
So I like that aspect of it too. I really like Moon Knight. I liked his look, and I really like Arthur. I think he's going to be a great bad guy. He
Mhm.
intrigues me. He intrigues me. And
Mhm.
man, that whole
Mhm.
thing of breaking the glass and putting it in his sandals and
Shoes?
walking. Oh gosh,
What's that
I
about?
cringe every time I watch it, man.
Right.
It's like, dude, yeah, this guy's a bad dude. If you can do
Mhm.
that and walk, I can't even walk on rocks, man. Little glass. Oh my gosh.
Yes, very much so. Very much so. Well, I agree. I think the villain is a good villain. It's intriguing that the villain used to be the hero, but is now the villain. Or is he extending his villain as saying, look, I'm doing the right, or extending what he thinks is his goodness, but its actual villainy is the aspect of, hey, look, we're stopping it before it even happens. We're saving lives, kind of a thing. And that's intriguing. That's a great philosophical discussion, but
I don't think you're
uh,
saving lives.
no,
I think
no.
you're just taking lives. That's all.
Yes, I agree. I think he's justifying, or he's hosed by Amit,
Yeah.
trying to convince him and trickery with him and stuff. I will say this. I do like Kanju in the aspect. I think it looks great. That it's being voiced by F. Murray Abraham, which I think is awesome. He's an
Oh, he
incredible
does a
actor.
great job. He's
He's doing a good job. I thought it was interesting. As soon as all the idiots in control, as Grant was talking with Arthur Harrow, I thought it was funny. Kanju was like, "Kill him." There was no delay. Oh, get to
no.
know him. Like, kill him now. kind of.
Well, I mean, Kanju knows who Arthur is, so
Mhm.
and there's obviously some conflict between those two, and,
Right.
and I am intrigued to find out what that conflict
Mhm.
is. Brenda made a great comment about Mr. Knight,
Mr. Knight.
Saturday Night Fever look.
That's
You
funny.
know, I could see Stephen Grant doing the whole.
John Travolta pointing
John-
the finger,
yeah,
singing a Bee Gees song.
I almost want that now. I almost want that.
Yeah. Mr. Knight, Mr. Knight, Mr. Knight. Oh.
That would be so funny. Someone needs to put together a video.
Oh gosh, that's so funny. Well, I'm also intrigued. The other intriguing thing I'd like to see what's going to happen is with Layla.
Yes.
Um,
Oh yeah, because Kanju.
Kanju's already said she's my backup.
Yeah, you don't work out. I'm taking her. So,
Yeah, which is like what?
she's
kind of a thing.
she's already proven her own. She can fight. So.
She can handle herself, right?
That was funny when she throws that one guy down the stairs and everything, and Steven goes, "That was cool."
Right. All right, everybody. Well, we're going to wrap things up. We're at our hour mark. And then also we want to encourage you to check out our website, twogeeksmike.com, twogeeksmike.com, number 2, GEEKSMIC.com. There's our hub for everything. So our merch page, Mike just put up a new t-shirt and mug and stuff called Save It for the Podcast. Right? It's a phrase he tells me all the time. We'll talk outside of, catch up on where you schedule and stuff. And I'll start saying something. He's like, Save it for the podcast. I think, oh, okay.
And Steven threw out, hey, we should put that on a t-shirt.
Right.
Well, he did.
He did.
The t-shirt, mug, sticker, button, plenty of stuff.
Yeah. And so you can get to our merch page through our website, twogeeksmike.com. It'll take you to Teespring. And then next is our Ko-fi page. We're pretty excited about some of the stuff that we're doing with that. For those who support us, at the $2 mark, you get access to our Discord page. So we have Discord running while we're doing the show, and you get to put in questions, and we will read those questions on the air, and pretty excited about that. Plus our second tier is the supporter page, and the supporter page gets you a private RSS feed for the show, and what you get on that
really exclusive
For the exclusives, you get exclusive content. So audio content, you get exclusive. You get our new sci-fi show, and you also will get other stuff coming down the pike, and we're excited. We mentioned that on the last episode, or I guess technically this episode will come out before that episode.
Yeah. And
Yes. Whoops.
we're in
So
the
yeah.
time machine.
Yeah. Time machine. So you'll hear more about that. And then also at the team tier, you get video and of those. And so, and plus other extra bonuses.
And our episode is now streaming on the website too. So
It is now streaming on our webpage.
one more place that you can watch us. So
Yep. So very exciting stuff. So we're growing, we're doing some neat things, and we really appreciate your guys' support because that helps us pay for the podcast hosting. It pays for the restream, those kinds of things, so that we can do this and have a good time together with you all. So thank you. All right, Mike, anything else?
No, we want to thank our moderator, Angela. She was watching at work today. Megan normally would be in there with her, but Megan is going to get her hair did today, so she's
Understood.
Yeah. So she said, "Dad, I'm taking the day off." Okay, whatever.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Well, great show, everybody. Thank you so much for being a part of it. Thank you for our supporters, Mark, Brian, and Angie, supported us this last couple of weeks. So thank you so much for that. And yeah,
Derek too, right?
Oh, Derek did. Yes, Derek did.
Yeah, I don't want
to forget Derek. And so pretty excited about all that. So Mike, with that, I'll sign out. You go ahead and finish it all out.
Okay, well, since this was another Marvel episode, over and out, and Excelsior. Thank you for joining us today on the Two Geeks and a Microphone podcast. Tune in next week when we will have more news and reviews. Until then,
May the force be with you.